Ladies and gentlemen, happy Tuesday. Capital G here. Got another deck tech here for you. Ghidorah, King of the Cosmos, also better known as Illuna, Apex of Wishes. Got this one from the bundle bus, so notice that not too many people check that out. Might have something to do with the fact that it took me half an hour to open 10 packs when I've seen people do 2 full boxes in like 15 minutes. So, oops. But it's one of those things you can only really do once. Especially since I can only afford the one for the time being. So, there you go. But yeah, this was my last pack pull. So, and I had some other sweet pulls. So, if you want to check that out, feel free to check out the bundle bust. But yeah, because I pulled this, it got me to thinking, how could I abuse that mutate on this one? So, what does a mutate do here? It says here, whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. Now imagine, if you will, that there's only one. You notice, no artifacts, no enchantments. There is only one non-land permanent in the deck. Crater Hoof. So here's the game plan. We're going to ramp up a little bit. We're going to spam tokens. We're going to cast a bunch of spells that give us a bunch of tokens. And then once we've hit a critical mass, depending on the player count, say 10 to 15 tokens should do the trick. We will mutate our commander. And because Crater Hoof is literally our only non-land permanent, we are guaranteed to hit the hoof. And then we turn sideways for the win. Pretty simple game plan. So let's see what the other cards are that are going to get us there. Starting with some 8th Rise, we do have to defend ourselves because we want to keep our tokens on the board as much as possible. We'd rather not be blocking if we don't have to. Arachnogenesis. Arcane Denial, again, some counter magic, especially handy after we bring our hoof onto the battlefield. This will defend basically protect our attack. Artifact Mutation destroys an artifact and we get X Saproling creature tokens, or X is the converted mana cost of the artifact. Back to Nature, destroy all enchantments. Again, we don't have any non-land permanents, so let's destroy all the enchantments. Let's destroy all the artifacts. Let's protect ourselves from the creatures. Barrier Breach, exile up to 3 target enchantments, or we can cycle it away. Carrion Call, 2 insect creature tokens with Infect. Hey, make them big enough, they can probably knock out some of our opponents on their own. Crushing Canopy, destroy a creature flying or destroy an enchantment. We're not going to have a lot of flyers here, so if someone's coming at us with a 2020 flyer, well, shoot it down. A Curious Herd, this one from Commander 2020. Choose an opponent, we can create X green beast creature tokens for X the number of artifacts that player controls. So if we don't hit our artifact sweepers, we'll we'll create a bunch of creatures and have them kind of check it out. Deflecting SWAT. Somebody targets us with something, we'll change that target. Dispel, counter target instant spell. Again, this is purely to protect our attacks once we are ready to turn our board sideways. Fierce Guardianship, as long as it's in a precon. That precon is actually like $20 more than the rest. So tells you how much people are excited for this card. Fresh Meat. Let's say we do build up a board of tokens and somebody decides to RAF. Well, not only do we get that many tokens back, but they're going to be even bigger. Harrow for the ramp. Hunting Pack. Somebody's casting a bunch of spells, we'll turn them into a bunch of 4/4 green beasts at the end of their turn. Iron Eyes, sweet little counterspell. Crozen Reclamation. Seems a little odd to have this, but hear me out. We can do 2 things with this. One is that we can disrupt our opponent's graveyard strategies with this very, very easily. And 2 is that if our Crater Hoof somehow ends up in our graveyard, we can shuffle it back in. Lazotep Plating protects us and ours and gives us a army token. Negate. Neutralize, another counter spell. This one we can cycle away if we need to. Pause for Reflection, prevent all combat damage that we've dealt this turn. It has Convoke, So once we have a bunch of tokens, if somebody swings out at us, we can just tap the tokens to prevent the damage. Predator's Howl gives us a 2/2 green wolf, or if something dies, we get to put 3 of them out for 4 mana. That's a pretty good rate. Sinister Status Sabotage, again a little more counter magic, and the Surveil is nice too. Spore Swarm, 4 mana, 3 tokens, instant speed. Swan Song, again protects the board. Teamer Charm. Not likely using the first mode on Teamer Charm, but the counter spell or the creature's power 3 or less can't block. That may prove handy. Vex, just an easily splashable hard counter spell. Ideally, when we're using this, it's because we've turned sideways with our commander and our Crater Hoof, and we're trying to protect them. So, terrible counter spell normally, but the fact that it's easily splashable only requires the single blue mana. And the reason that is important is the mutate cost. The mutate cost for Illuna is double blue. So counter spells that require less blue mana are better for us. Lastly, we've got Whiplash Trap. If one had 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under their control, we could pay 1 blue to return 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. Going on to our sorceries. Start off with Acorn Harvest. Sorcery that gives us a couple of squirrels, but we can also pay 2 mana and flash it back. Costs us 3 life as well. Very low cost for a couple of really, really angry looking squirrels. That is some animal farm stuff that we're looking at here in this art. Aether Mutation, a little slow. That's one coming from Modern Horizons, I believe. Return target creature to its owner's hand, and we get X green sapling creature tokens, where X is that creature's confirmed mana cost. Blasphemous Act. Sometimes you just don't have a choice, you have to pull the trigger. Call the Science. Not only does this give us a couple of 1/1 tokens, but we can, in concept, sacrifice those tokens to ramp. Callous Dismissal is here, returns an online permanent to its owner's hand, and gives us an amass token, a zombie army. Creeping Corrosion, destroy all artifacts. Cultivate for the ramping, Decimate. Hits 4 targets. These days, we're definitely going to find all our targets. There's lots of enchantments running around. There's lots of artifacts running around. Creatures and lands, they're always around. So, Decimate. 4 mana, 4 targets. Kaboom. Deep Analysis to get some cards back into our hand. Explosive Vegetation, of course, is here. Faithless Looting fills in some cards for us. Farseek. Feral Incarnation. So this convokes. So once we have a bunch of tokens, we just tap those tokens and get 3 beast creature tokens onto the battlefield. So that's pretty sweet. Growth Spasm. I like this because it not only ramps us, gets a basic land from our library onto the battlefield, but it gives us a 0/1 token. In this case, an Eldrazi spawn that we could sack for mana, but if we can keep it around as an attacker once Crater Hoof hits, even better. Hunting Triad. We can ignore the Reinforce. Really, this is here for the 3/1/1 Elf Warrior creature tokens. In the very, very unlikely event that we need to reinforce, we pay the reinforce cost instead to put 3/1/1 counters on target creature. Kodama's Reach again ramps us for some lands here. Mass Manipulation, sort of a plan B. So if things aren't working out, at least we still have Mass Manipulation to steal our opponent's creatures or planeswalkers. Migration Path, of course, is here. This one we can cycle away if we don't need it anymore. Mythos of Illuna. It gives us a token copy of any creature on the battlefield. So, not necessarily one of our tokens. And with the green and red, if we pay the extra green and red in it, we can also have it fight something. 1 dozen eyes. We could put a 5/5 green beast, or we could put 5/1/1 insects, or we can entwine it and do both. Really, it's here for the 6 mana, 5 insects. Overrun. We can't always count on a Crater Hoof. Maybe something happens, somebody exiles it, what have you, or the game, somebody survives the first Crater Hoof attack. We'll overrun them. Plane-wide Celebration, 7 mana sorcery. Again, gets us 4 citizens. Well, it also lets us return a permanent card from our graveyard to our hand. So, again, in the likely event that Crater Hoof ends up in our graveyard, Plane-wide Celebration gets it back for us, as well as generating some tokens. Rampant Growth for Rampant Ramping. Recoup. So you can see we got a bunch of sorcery, so why not be able to flashback any one of them that we like twice. Release the Gremlins. Destroys X artifacts, and we get X red gremlin creature tokens. So 3 mana is 1 artifact, 1 token. 5 mana is 2 artifacts, 2 tokens, so on and so forth. Rise from the Tides. Create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token for each instant and sorcery in our graveyard. As you can see, that's every card in our deck except for the Creator Hoof. Shatterstorm, classic card. I noticed that there aren't a lot of people who play Shatterstorm, in fact, on EDH Rec. I don't know if people forget about this card or think it's too mean and decide not to play it. Not sure what the story is there. All I know is I should probably contact the EDH Rec cast and be like, hey, why aren't people playing this card? And maybe they'll turn it into a challenge to stats. I've been watching their podcast a lot lately. Really good stuff. Spontaneous Generation. This little gem from Mercadian Masks. Put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play for each card in your hand. This proved to be a powerhouse in Hogak, so bringing it back for this build as well. Stolen by the Fae. Hey, returns a creature at sorcery speed, but gets us a bunch of flying creatures. Flying fairy creature tokens, so why not? Sylvan Awakening. Again, a little bit of a plan B. We have a bunch of ramps, so might be at some point we just need to pay 3 mana, turn the rest of our lands into 2/2 indestructible creatures, and turn sideways. Tempt with Vengeance. Why not put a bunch of red one like X red elemental tokens? This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And if other players are tempted and decide to take the tokens too, well, hey, that means more for us. Tranquility. Destroy all enchantments. Funny little story about Tranquility. And also a funny little story about its cheaper, better cousin here. Because I have to admit, because I wasn't playing at the time, I had no idea Back to Nature existed until about last week. So, for me, Destroy All Enchantments was always Tranquility, and I knew some other green cards and other white cards that could destroy all enchantments, but I did not know Back to Nature existed until last week. Tells you that I should be doing some more homework. And speaking of doing some homework, I will have to ask the question. What set is this from? Because I really, really like the old school art on this one. This is gorgeous. Back to the deck tech, we have with one last sorcery, Whirlwind. Destroy all creatures with flying. Kill count should be pretty high in our favor on that one. So lands, running the Ancient Tomb Blast Zone, because we can put as many counters as we need onto it and blow things up. Breeding Pool is here. We're running all 3 possible shocks. Command Towers here. 12 forests, 7 islands. We're running all 3 possible pain lands as well. And we are running the Ketria Triome. Triome seems to be averaging about $8 to $10 for just the regular non-foil ones. But these alternate art ones are commanding a pretty high price, especially if you manage to pull them in foil. 6 mountains are in the deck. Radiant Fountain just for the extra life gain, a little bit of buffer. Scavenger Grounds is here to exile cards from graveyards. We don't care about our graveyard 99% of the time, so why not? The Shivan Reef, of course, Team Vents, Stomping Ground, and Yevmaya Coast. And there you are. That is my take on Illuna, Apex of Wishes, also known as Ghidorah. Let me know what y'all think about this one. I thought it was a clever way to go about this particular commander. I'm not sure who or what is next, but I will let you know when I know. In the meantime, stay safe. Make sure you wear your mask when you get your haircut. Haven't got my haircut yet because I don't have my masks yet. I'm working on that. And with that in mind, I will see you all again next time.